England 3, Senegal 0, and we've got the big game coming up on Saturday evening. The one we thought about, the one we probably predicted way before this tournament even occurred. It's England against France on Saturday night. People are writing us off already. France are going to destroy us. We've not played anybody decent yet. You're going to get battered. I don't know who these people are. Have they ever watched football before? I mean, as if we're going to roll into that game and get battered 5 or 6-0. That's not how football works, and certainly not that level when so many of the English players will know so many of the French players. We might lose, we might win, but you can't predict it. We'll go into it underdogs. Can't wait. France will go in as favourites. They're the holders of the bloody thing, and they've played some really good football. But the World Cup starts in the quarterfinal for England. We've not really been tested yet. I'd love to say that Senegal tested us and, we've gone up a couple of gears, but we haven't. We haven't been tested. The funny thing about that game is that it's how we approach the France game that's going to really interest me. Some of you will say he'll go to a back five. Definitely. Trippier comes in, Walker goes in, and he'll drop Henderson, and he'll go with the two in the midfield of Bellingham and Rice. He might do that. He might stick with what he's got. But for me, there's two big choices for Gareth Southgate to make. And you make your mind up of what you think he's going to do. You either basically go ultra pragmatic, counter-attack against a team that's better than you and hope that you keep them out and score goals on the break, which we're capable of doing. Or you keep the same formation and you go man for man and you try to be a little bit like we are in this tournament. Because when the handbrake goes off, we're good. First half against Wales, utter shite. Rashford scores and suddenly it's bang, bang, bang. We can't stop attacking. Same thing today. We scored the first goal with Henderson and bang, bang, bang in a very short period of time. We're 3-0 up. And yeah, we relax after that. We're going through the motions. No one wants to get injured, etc., or a yellow card. But we've seen, and against Iran in the first game, we can just go bang, bang, bang and look like... And the great thing is that the goals that we're scoring are really good team goals. Like, if you think about the first goal... That is Shaw to Foden to Kane to Bellingham to Henderson. And similarly, we did it with the third goal as well and the second goal. So we can score really good. People can't say, oh, England is scoring lucky goals. We're constructing the goals really well and we actually go for it. So we are capable of doing that. But for some reason, we don't start games like that. We don't start with that tempo. We're still Gareth Southgate's team, aren't we? We still are that team that ultimately can't do it from the off or can't do it for the majority of the game. Remember when we played Germany? I think it was in the summer. We're 2-0 down. We're playing utter shit. He makes a couple of subs. We go for it and we could have won it 3-2 or something like that. We're more than capable of doing it. And this is why I and many other people say, I just wish we had a Pochettino or a more progressive coach. And I'm not saying Pochettino's ultra progressive, but he's not Southgate. And I think even under Southgate, we get glimpses of what we can be. But ultimately, he's a defensive coach. And I think in the French game, it's going to be super interesting because look at Jude Bellingham tonight. Comfortably man of the match. Foden was very, very good. Kane, when he got on the ball, was very good. Saka will score you goals just like Rashford. Henderson was even scoring goals. We've got players that can live with the French. They can live with the Brazilians. They can live with the Spanish and the Portuguese. We can. But... will he allow them to do that? And that's why I think how we approach the French game is going to be so interesting. My gut feeling is that we will give up the possession. We will rely on defence and then countering and set pieces. And that's worked for us in the past. But my feeling is that we actually should do something that we haven't done in this tournament yet. And is actually try and play like we have in those moments. The 20 minutes against Senegal tonight, the second half against Wales, parts of the Iran game. I know Iran weren't very good and people will be screaming at the screen going, you try and play like that against France or Brazil, you'll get annihilated because Senegal aren't that good, Iran aren't that good and Wales aren't that good. And I completely understand that. But my point is, if we play the back four and you leave Giroud to Stones and Maguire, it's conceivable that they can deal with him. You go man for man with Shaw and Walker against Mbappe and Dembele. Now that's difficult, but Shaw and Walker are capable. You've then got Rice dealing with Griezmann. You've got Bellingham and Henderson dealing with Rabiot and Tchouaméni. and then you've got Kane up against Varane and Upamecano, and then you've got Foden up against Koundé, and you've got Saka up against, or Rashford up against Hernandez. Tell me the weakness. The weakness is Deschamps against Southgate, isn't it? Because actually, when you go man for man in those scenarios, if you've got the right approach, you can win that game. I'll repeat it. Walker against Mbappe, Shaw against Dembele, Maguire and Stones against Giroud, Rice dealing with Griezmann, Tchouaméni and Rabiot against Bellingham and Henderson, Kane on Varane and Upamecano, Foden on Koundé, and obviously Saka or Rashford against Hernandez. In that man-for-man scenario, if you England could win a few of those, and if you win a few of those, you could win the game. We are capable of doing that. The question is, will we be allowed to do it? Will we go into the game with that attitude to do it? Because yes, France are a better team than us. They've won the World Cup and they've looked very good in this tournament. But player for player, they're not better. It's just the system and the approach that they have and the fluidity and chemistry that they have. Now, if we let that handbrake off, and I'm not saying go out on the front foot and attack. You know, what I'm saying is try and be 50-50. Try and win the individual battles. Try and not give France 60-65% possession. Try and be in the game as much as France are instead of trying to counterattack. Then I think we've got a chance. Will he do that? I don't know. There'll be a lot of people saying no chance. England are going to rely on moments and counterattack, try and keep a clean sheet, which they have done a few times in this tournament, and then get a goal at the other end. And that might be how we win it. 1-0, 2-0, whatever. But I do think within this England team, there is the ability to unlock something very special. And I think we've seen glimpses of it. You know, Shaw and Foden work really well. Bellingham in that situation. Kane. You've got Saka and Rashford. There is the makings of a really dynamic, exciting team there. But also, admittedly, there is still this coach which probably isn't capable of doing that consistently. But I'm not going to write England off for the France game. I completely agree that Iran weren't very good, Wales weren't very good, USA should have beat us, and Senegal were disappointing. If not, I can't say I'm disappointed as an English person. It was a straightforward win. But we haven't been tested yet. And the World Cup starts for England in the quarterfinal, which is what many of us predicted. And what I would say is if we lose to France, then Southgate's got to go. You know, we can't go into another tournament where a first real test we fall. Whether it's Italy in the Euros final or Croatia in the semi-final of the World Cup. This is our first real test. They are the holders. If we win this game, you're pushing the button on hysteria of having to go and win it, win the whole thing. So huge game against France. Massively looking forward to it, and I'm massively intrigued how we approach it. But I'll say it right here, right now. England could play very pragmatic and very defensive and still beat France. I'm not having it that England are going to lose this game 3 or 4-0. I just don't think football works like that. Yes, France are the favourites, but I just don't think it's going to play out like that. I'd be very interested to see what you've got to say in the comments. But I just want to say, finally, Jude Bellingham, what a player. This is a 19-year-old. He played 35 games in the Championship in centre midfield for Birmingham at 16. He's been playing in Dortmund for the last few years in the Champions League and in the Bundesliga. He's now playing in the World Cup at 19 years of age and looks like he's 28. And he's still got growth physically and as a player. Unbelievable. They'll be queuing up for this guy. Absolutely queuing up. You talk about someone like Foden, and the fans got it right with Foden. Why is he not playing? Why is Foden not playing? In the team, justifies it. But, you know, Foden, well done. But Jude Bellingham, bloody hell, what a player. What a player. What a player. And deservedly man of the match. And this is what I mean. We've got really top level players that can go toe-to-toe with France, and I really hope we do it. I really do. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Please smash a like on the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll be back tomorrow with more World Cup watch-alongs. And yeah, the favourites are dominating at the moment. Will we actually get a shock or a decent close game in the next 4? Or will the favourites continue to dominate like England, France, Argentina, and the Netherlands? We'll see. Thanks for watching. Take care.